Yeah. You're not feeling great? Yeah. Yeah. It's finicky and then finicky. Yeah. You're doing great. Yeah.
Let's sing together. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. One more time. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here with you, whether you're here in person or joining us on Zoom or on Facebook. For those of us who are joining us on Zoom and on Facebook, just want to remind you that you can turn on your closed captioning on your screen in order to see the words that we're saying out loud. And for those of you who are here in person, I want to remind you that we are using a system in this new world of people being in person and on Zoom and on Facebook. We're using a system for Misha Berach and Kaddish, where we're entering names in through a QR code. Did people see that as they entered? If not, you can enter it on the QR code, or worst comes to worst, just say it out loud. But I wanted to start off by saying that there was a story this week in the newspaper where a woman talked about this new habit she's developed in COVID, because she can't go out to restaurants or goes out to fewer restaurants. She gets a few minutes every week when she's grocery shopping, where she stops at the sushi section and she buys a little carton of sushi, and she gets in her car, and it's before she comes home to her family and her husband and all of that, she puts on the radio for 15 minutes and she just eats the sushi in her car. And she said this is the best 15 minutes of her week, and she recommends it to everybody. And I actually love this story. She calls it her weekly covert indulgence. And I feel like I support it. I love eating in my car. No shame to this woman whatsoever. But it's a real reminder of why we need Shabbat. Because indulgence shouldn't be covert all the time. It's something that we need to make time for. It's something that we need to set aside time in our week, so that we make sure that we're not only eating in our cars, or we're not only, alone, but that we're setting aside time for beauty and slowness and togetherness and each other. So I'm so glad to be here with you all. And we are going to start with our candle blessings on page 120. I'm very happy to invite up Diana Cohen to lead us in the candle blessing. the hardest part.
Third time's the charm. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'harbetner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
And now I'm going to get the exciting job of holding the Kiddush cup. Cantor Katzman, will you lead us in the Kiddush?
I can do that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen.
L'chaim, Shabbat Shalom.
Hi.
Please be seated. We are going to take a moment now to welcome the incredible Sarah Tusing into our covenant. I want to invite her up to come up to the bima. Here. So Sarah is, first of all, it's so nice to see you in person, finally. Sarah is an incredible person who has taken the time not just to join the Jewish faith and community, but to really kind of become a leader in multiple communities, in multiple Jewish communities. And we're so honored that you took the time to do this process in our community. But we know that we're so happy to share you with the many Jewish communities that you call home, and the many spaces that I know also feel very, very lucky to have you. And I wanted to introduce your Hebrew name, which is Miriam Kizia bat Abraham Vesara. Sorry, Miriam Kizia bat Abraham Verus. And what you told us when you were going through this process was that Miriam represented to you a person who was musical like you are, and I think who's also a leader like you are. And that Keziah, who is the daughter of Job, was somebody who represents strength. And I know that you have a lot of inner strength. And so we're going to invite you to share some of that inner strength and outer strength with us by holding the Torah. So we
yes.
take a moment to open the ark. And come up over here. And we sing Shema together, and then we'll bless you with the priestly blessing. Everyone can join us.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
How are you doing with the Torah? Can you keep holding it for a moment? Great. And now we sing the priestly blessing.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's light shine upon you and feel close to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's light and presence provide you with strength, with the continued wholeness that you bring to the Jewish people, and with peace. And together we can say, Amen.
Amen.
And Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel Tov. Thank you.
Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yehelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael.
Please be seated. We turn now to Lecha Dodi on page 138.
Lecha Dodi, lecha yalla, 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 neshapat, nekala. Lecha Dodi, lecha yalla, 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 neshapat, nekala. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Ishmianu echad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'tihila, Lecha Dodi, lecha kala, yalla, 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 b'nei Shabbat, v'kala. B'nei Shabbat, Lekach שבת לכובנך, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נשואה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. כבוד אדוני עלי נגלה לגדולים בני שבת נקבלה בני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת פניו, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה,
Please be seated. We turn to page 142, the Sholom Alechem, and we pray for the personal sense of peace that we need to navigate whatever is coming our way.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi HaSharet, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Elyon, Melech Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Akadosh, Akadosh, Achem v'shalom, Malachei shalom, Malachei elyon, Malachei elyon, Melech Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei elyon, Malachei elyon, Melech Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei elyon, Malachei elyon, Melech Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn to the Baruch Hu on page 146, and we rise in body or in spirit for this prayer that says we're not just going to use our voices and our words to express praise, we're also going to use our bodies. We're going to bow. So whether or not you're able to stand up, we invite everyone to use their body in some way to express praise, whatever works for them. On page 146.
Lie, 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 lie. Baruchu et Adonai ha-levolah. Baruch Adonai leolam haed. Lai, 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 lai,
Stay standing as we turn to the Shema on page 152 and pray to keep finding new ways to listen.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad. Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam, Leolam ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Amen. We turn to our prayer for freedom, Mi Chamocha, on page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורתי לאות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע יום לפני מרים. זה לי
we head into a new week with a reinstated mask mandate and kind of different unknowns about the virus, we pray Hashki Venu for God to spread a shelter of peace over each and every single person on this earth. Anybody who is vulnerable deserves protection and deserves our prayer. So we turn to Hashki Venu on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'amidenu shomreinu Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'amidenu shomreinu Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
If this was a performance or concert, if you couldn't turn to the person who you're leading with and be like, oh my gosh, Cantor Katzman, that was awesome. But we always say that prayer is not a performance or concert. So you're killing it. Thank you. That was beautiful.
I don't want to kill anything.
No, not, in the good way. We rise in body and in spirit, and we turn to page 164 for the Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tifach ufi yagi tehilatecha Adonai open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Take some time now for quiet, for personal prayer, introspection, reflection. When you're done, you're standing, please be seated.
Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la la la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen.
Take a moment now to think of all of those who are in need of any kind of healing. And the word healing has so many different potentialities, so many different meanings. But anyone, yourself included, who's in need of healing of mind, healing of body, healing of spirit. If you're on Zoom and you still need a moment to enter those names into the link, please do so now. We'll read out loud the names. Sarah Golub, Louise Chapman, Mary Spriggs, Winifred Halsey, Joan Stockoff, Heidi Habs, Anthony Barnes, Max Cohn, the amazing Juliana Schaefer, Mark Levine, Susan Levine, Marion Kramer, Barb Vest, Tim Wolf, Jonathan Spitz, Elaine Baddock, Javier Escalante, Flo Bernberg, Marcia Smith Leslie, Susan Levine, Phil Dunn, Ralph Oppler, Noah De Bruyne, Susan Stillman, David Sussman, Jim Clemens, Don Sabol, Barbara Sussman, Pam Zolnay, Nina Silverstein, Julie Brett, Rosie Karp, Freddie Stoller, as well as Chuck Abrams, Rick Rose, Marianne and Richard, Rachel Brennan, and the Buskard family. All of those names and all of the people we're thinking of in our hearts, we say Misha Berach, and we're on page 371.
Nishevera Avotenu Mekol Abraha Liimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us
Refuah Shlema, or quick, full, speedy healing. So I got to visit Seattle this past week. And while I was there, I caught up with a good friend from high school who's now the director of a summer camp that takes place on an island north of the city. I think it's always fun to see childhood friends grow into real adults, professionals who take on challenging careers and responsibilities. But there was something particularly impressive about visiting this camp and watching the way that this friend, in some ways, took ultimate responsibility for the lives of 300 children and 200 staff members. And I want to be clear that this is not like the cute little summer camp that I went to where a 20-minute walk was called a hike. This was like a real Pacific Northwest summer camp where the kids were learning how to go on like multiple day kayak excursions and real rock climbing and survival skills and also COVID rules and all of that. So it was like, he had a lot of responsibility. And the stakes of his job just generally seemed very high. It was also exhausting to watch because he couldn't walk more than 10 feet through the camp without a staff member or a child running up to him to ask him a question. And he explained that the only way for him to actually relax would be to physically leave the campgrounds and entirely hand over his responsibilities for the evening. So we were about to leave the camp to get dinner, and he realized he forgot his water bottle. And my friends and I groaned because we knew that what would usually for a normal person be like a 3-minute run back to the cabin, for him was going to take at least 30 minutes. And we didn't have patience for that because we were all hungry. We want and we need people who are going to take responsibility. People we can trust when we drop kids off for summer camp or buckle ourselves into an airplane, or even just when we need help finding something at the grocery store or sending a piece of mail. The world runs smoothly because we're all taught that at one point or another, we're all taught that it's important to show up and do our jobs. But there's a certain tipping point that I see happening to a number of people, myself included, and I don't know if this will resonate with you, when that value of showing up is transformed from I will be responsible in my life and in my work to an anxiety, a feeling of if I don't show up, this work will happen incorrectly or not at all. If I don't show up, I will fail my team or my family, or if I don't show up, people will judge me. think as a culture, we seem genuinely confused about the difference or the line between responsibility and immense personal sacrifice. This makes sense because as we work and grow, we learn the importance of sometimes being that person who goes the extra mile, who gets there early, who cancels our own plans or overlooks our own needs to take care of one another and to be a team player. And just knowing some of you in the room, I know that a lot of you are this person. So it becomes genuinely difficult to know when to stop. It is its own skill set to become wise enough to know not just when to show up, but also when to not show up. When to decline an invitation, politely refuse a request, or take a day off. This past week, the Olympic gymnast Simone Biles demonstrated expertly the art of not showing up. She showed that by prioritizing her needs, by saying no, she not only took care of herself, she sent the world a message that no person can be just one thing. No person is just a gymnast or athlete or lawyer or parent. We're all a vast amalgamation of needs, dreams, and desires, and we are all constantly in the act of balancing those needs. Biles herself tweeted, "The outpouring of love and support I've received has made me realize I'm more than my accomplishments and gymnastics, which I never truly believed before." The art of not showing up was demonstrated similarly by that baseball Hall of Famer who rabbis love to talk about, Sandy Koufax. I'm sure many of you know, Sandy Koufax was famous for refusing to pitch in the beginning of the 1965 World Series because the game fell on Yom Kippur. Generations of Jews have lauded Koufax for his decision, but I think that the choice not to play on Yom Kippur was not just about being a proud Jew. It was about saying sometimes competing, winning, succeeding, showing up is just not the priority. As people who live in a time when there is immense pressure to be constantly present, we need to relearn not just how to remove ourselves, how to not show up or how to say no, but to celebrate those in our lives who do so at the right time. In this week's Torah portion, Akev, we watch Moses struggle with this exact line between leadership and sacrifice. Moses is the type of leader who has shown up early and often. He showed up for God, he showed up for the people, he showed up for his family, he even showed up for animals who needed help. And at a certain point, that level of showing up exhausts him. This week, he recounts to the Israelites the stories that they've experienced. And he reminds people specifically of the story where he broke the 10 Commandments. He says, "I had ascended the mountain to receive those tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant that God had made with you. And I stayed on that mountain for 40 days and for 40 nights, eating no bread and drinking no water." Moses has shown beyond the shadow of a doubt that he knows how to take one for the team. He goes so far as to do things like not eating on a mountain for 40 days in order to get the commandments for the people. But Moses doesn't learn how to say no, and so this costs him. In his shock and fury and exhaustion, he smashes the commandments. He yells, he falls on his face. This is multiple times over the stories of the Torah. He hits the rock. And so it seems that God, in not allowing Moses to enter the promised land, is teaching him and us the art of not showing up. In this speech in Akev, when Moses reminds the people of his past accomplishments and woes, he finds that balance between responsibility and martyrdom. His speech, which reminds us of all of the great things he has done, I think holds two truths in it. The first is that all leaders and all people need to learn when to not show up. The second is that the decision to not show up should not become the defining moment of that person's career. It does not take away from all of the incredible things that a person has done. It only adds to them. We don't need to be Moses or Simone Biles or Sandy Koufax to learn the art of not showing up. We don't need to be elite athletes or Olympians or great leaders in order to have an excuse to prioritize our needs. Our job is to learn from their example and to set our own, to celebrate the days where we do our jobs and to also feel great about the days where we don't. If we can work to expand the way we see each person and see ourselves not as a string of accomplishments, but as whole beings, we can get closer to seeing ourselves and to seeing each person as people who are made in the image of God. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi, you killed it.
Oh, thank you.
Shall we turn to page
Yes.
586?
586.
Yes, no, I can do this.
Oh, yes,
I can
got
do
it.
this. Let's turn to page 586 and rise to join in the Aleinu. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Can we take a moment before, please be seated. I'm going to take a moment to share some announcements. You want to switch off every other announcement? They're on. I'll do the first one.
It's a lot of pressure. Okay.
The first is for the Monday meal. So every single Monday from 3:30 to 5 p.m., we are still doing Monday meal to-go bags, and we need your help. So if you're able to provide supplies such as chips, bottled water, granola bars, and other items, please sign up, and you can contact Toby Sanders if you would like to volunteer or sign up.
Okay, and on Wednesday, August 4th, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., you can join Adult Education, Shalem, and Shalom Justice for a virtual visit to Mandela Struggle for Freedom, which is currently at the Illinois Holocaust Museum. And this event is free, but registration is required.
Awesome. And then on Sunday, August 8th, from 9:30 to 10:30, we have Feed the Hungry, which is newly improved and COVID safe and allows you the opportunity to sponsor a monthly Free the Hungry Sunday. And as a sponsor, you shop for the items, assemble sandwiches, and deliver them to a church on the west side at a socially safe distance with masks. So that is another thing you can sign up for, and contact Toby, the incredible Toby Sanders, for more information.
And on Monday, August 9th, from 6 to 8 p.m., come and enjoy a beautiful summer evening on the patio of El Presidente with WTS, Women of Temple Sholom.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. While you sip margaritas, sangria, and soft drinks, nosh a variety of Mexican vegetarian appetizers, and have a chance to catch up with old friends and make some new ones. As WTS reflects on the past year and the exciting programming for the year to come. There will also be a raffle to enter, and this event is free, but registration is required.
We're a very fun temple where you can get free margaritas if you just sign up. So
Right.
you should definitely be there. We're going to take time now to turn to our mourner's Kaddish. And this week, our hearts are particularly with Rabbi Conover. I'm sure many of you saw that Rabbi Conover's brother passed away this week. His name is Tim Wolf, and she wrote that he had a legacy of love, of family, of strong friendships, and the sincere appreciation of all around him. And I know that she's just feeling incredibly held by this community, and we're just with her in every way that we can be and sending her our love. And in addition to that, we are adding some other names to the list this week. So we are remembering Hazel Golden Lee, Sherry Kamiko Goodman, Laureen Pergament, Michael Cooper, Rebecca Luker, Roberta K, Hal K, Howard Gihon, Sandra Goincher, Roberta K, Rick Buskard, Michael Cooper. In addition to Kenneth Siegel, Tim Wolf, Alfred H. Edelman, Pepper Aronoff, Brad Balson, Francis Lynette Bolin, Sylvia Charenson, Kenneth Sifra, Lisa Derman, Jay Diamond, Eve Feinstein, James M. Ferber, Sylvia Good, Russell Green, Sylvia Halpern, Myron King, Sylvia Kurtzen Koch, Elaine Cooper, Dr. Sander Kushner, Marcia Landman, Anna Levy, Mary Goldman Martin, Edna Oskin, Robin Perelman Klima, Mark Rosenthal, Arnold Rosenthal, Marie Rubin, Sydney Schindler, Mary Scott, Bertha Shear, Gussie Silverman, Meryl Solomon, Dr. Carlisle Weiss, Sherman Wolf, and anybody else this week who doesn't have somebody to say the Kaddish for them. We say Kaddish for them together. May their memories be for a blessing. We rise and turn to the mourner's Kaddish. On page 598.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Hoseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Hoseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Israel, ve'imru, imru, amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
And let's see, Ki Eshmera Shabbat can be found on page 634. Ki Eshmera Shabbat Yimereini. Ki Eshmera Shabbat Yimereini.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
What an
Shalom.
immense treasure to see all of you and be with all of you, and to just, for those of you who are in person, to just get to be here together, and for those of you who are not in person, to get to be with you spiritually. And just to keep everybody as safe as possible, we're going to ask that people walk immediately outside. I understand that some of you might want to say a quick hi to each other, but if you can do it outside, that would be so appreciated. And thank you so much, Pastor Katzman.
Bye. It's such a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to Brian Lightman,
Yes.
who was helping us on Zoom, Hannah, and McHugh. We're
Yes.
just so appreciative of all of you and the beautiful music that you brought here tonight. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.